Hi there. I'm glad you stopped by today because I want to talk to you about international orders. So if you know somebody who lives across beyond the South African borders, or perhaps you stopped by to watch this particular clip because you live beyond South African borders. Either way, I would like to talk to you about those of you who are on the online store, on the Oikos website, and you are wanting to place orders for the resources that we have to offer you. There's a few things to remember when you're going to do this, and so I'd like to go through those with you today. First of all, you're going to need patience, because if you are ordering beyond South African borders, it's going to take a little longer than those that are local. In other words, a South African, if they're going to order online on the Oikos store, they're going to get their order within 2 days to 10 days, depending on a variety of things. In your case, if you are international, it's going to take about 2 weeks, I would say. And there's things that are going to be a bit different for you to what it would be for the locals. I think the same thing applies. Like, I know the other day I was on an online store that I was the international person and I was ordering something from the States, and I'm South African. And I had many challenges. Previously when I ordered on the site, my credit card just went through for my payment, but this time it didn't. And so, these little things happen with technology, and technology is really, really a wonderful gift to us all, but yet it does have the side of it that can cause some frustrations. So I'd like to help you today to not be frustrated. I'd like to help you with a few suggestions that I can give you that will perhaps make your ordering on the Oikos online store a little bit more comfortable. The first thing that I mentioned was patience. And so you're going to have to, right from the beginning, realize it's going to take a bit longer than it would if you are local. So let's presume you've been browsing on the store and you have decided what you would like and you make your selections. Now, it can be straightforward enough whereby you put in your physical address where you are, somewhere in the world, and you pay with credit card and everything goes through beautifully, and you see what your courier cost is because you are ordering internationally, and the order can arrive at your door. In fact, I had somebody contact me a little while ago, actually, in fact, it was as much as a couple of months ago, where she said she was completely amazed because her order was with her within the same week. She was really quite shocked. And I was telling my father about it. I said, we sent an order to someone in Malawi, wherever it might have been. In fact, it was further. I think it was Dubai. And the person got it within days. And my father says to me, it's called an aeroplane. So, we don't actually think about the fact that it's a case of getting it to the airport and sending it on whichever flight it is and arriving within a few days at the person's door. Now, that is the best case scenario, but I'm not going to suggest that it always happens like that, because mostly it doesn't, to be honest, because you're going to have some other challenges that might come your way. There might be a problem on the site when you're ordering. In fact, I heard just last week of a very, very big online store that crashed. And so because there were so many visitors at the same time, they were running these crazy specials. And so there were a lot of people on the site, and so the whole website crashed. Now, Oikos online store isn't that size, but at the same time, we do have certain limitations on our store, whereas you might be the one extra person that causes there to be a little bit of a struggle on the site. And it might just be timing that you've gone onto the site and you have struggled to place your order because there's a lot of traffic happening on the site at that time. So I'm going to suggest, whether you're watching this as across South African borders or not, an international person, I'm going to always just suggest that if you are finding difficulties while you are on the online store, why don't you just shut it down, close it, go do something else, have some tea, and come back a little later, and you might just find things go a lot more smoothly. However, if you have repeatedly had difficulties, please contact us. Just send us an email. You'll find it, the link to the emails on the site at help@oikosfamily.co.za or sales@oikosfamily.co.za. We're going to try and answer that email as fast as we possibly can, because if we see an email come from you where you're having difficulties, we would like to try and assist you, because we know from our side that it can be difficult when you have a very specific period of time where you can do this and now it's not going well for you. So we'd like to help you. However, I'm going to come back to the patients and say to you, please give yourself some time with your Oikos order. Don't rush it. Take your time take your time browsing, watch as many videos. Don't just put things in the cart quickly. It's always a mistake to do that, I think, because you're doing it in a rush and you're being hasty. So I would suggest you slow down and give it some time to think about, give yourself some time to think about it, come back the next day, and so on. Just let it take time. The other thing you're going to have to let take time is if you are having your order sent to a South African address. This happens quite a bit, so maybe you identify with this. Maybe you a missionary in a country whereby you have deliveries coming to your door is very difficult, but you know that you visit South Africa annually to collect provisions or visit family, whatever it might be. And so you've thought, I'll collect my Oikos resources at the same time. I'll have my resource sent to my sister who lives in Cape Town or Pretoria or Johannesburg, wherever it might be. And you've thought that this would be a good plan because of the difficulties of you receiving your order. So now you've had this idea, but maybe you've had it just a little bit too late because you may be leaving for South Africa in a couple of weeks and this idea has come to you. And so now you hop on the Oikos site and you're in a hurry and you're quickly trying to get your order in and things don't just pan out the way you would like them to. Because what you need to do, let me take you back to step one. The first thing you'd need to do is prepare that person in South Africa, the person who's receiving your order. You need to prepare them in the following ways. One, you need to check with them, obviously, if it's okay if they receive your order on your behalf. Two, you're going to have to let them know it's not going to be there in the next 2 days or 10 days. It could be longer because there could be problems with payment. When I say problems, I mean delays, not necessarily problem. If you did credit card and it went through immediately, well, that's not a delay. But if you did some other form of payment, which we can get to, there could be some delays. It could be delays with internet, with banking, with securities, with clearance, all kinds of things can influence the final steps of your payment, as in us receiving clearance and full payment for that order. So that could be delayed. So now you've got this person sitting in South Africa that you've asked to be ready to receive your order, and now she needs to go out, or they're leaving on holiday and your order hasn't arrived, and so now it becomes a stress for everybody. And she doesn't know what to do about the fact that she's not going to be there when the courier perhaps arrives. So I've got some suggestions about that. I suggest that you select a business, so there's business hours. That normally works better than a home address because mom is in and out, and it's not her order. She's not expecting it, so it's maybe not in her mind all the time as to be prepared to receive an order that's coming. Even though maybe you've asked your sister, your friend, a colleague, whatever it might be, to receive this order on your behalf. But it's not their order, so they're not maybe thinking about it as much as you are. And so it can start becoming a bit of a concern. And then mom forgets about it, the mom who's receiving it on your behalf, and the courier arrives at her door and she's not there. Or perhaps you haven't let her know about it, or perhaps she's forgotten. And so now what happens? That order comes back to us. Now you've got a problem because now you've arrived in South Africa to fetch your order and it's not there because it's sitting back at Oikos, and Oikos doesn't quite know what to do because the courier went 2 or 3 times to try and deliver it and failed. And I must tell you what also happens in this regard, and that is the costs start to climb up because somebody's got to pay for that courier going back and forth and back and forth. Now, we don't want to trouble you with those extra costs because we're trying to help you. We're actually trying to make free courier if we possibly can. But when it starts running into that, it starts now becoming a concern regarding our good stewardship of the funds of this ministry. So we need to be careful about that. So that's why I go back to suggesting you use a business address. But now there's something more to consider with the business address, because let's say you've chosen company ABC and your husband's got a colleague there, or there's a branch for who he works for there, and you've got some link whereby you can put a business address in. If you're doing that, and now the courier phones the reception, and the reception knows absolutely nothing about it, but he knows your name is Sally and that you are the wife of one of the managers, the receptionist might know that. But maybe they don't, because maybe that receptionist is off, or maybe they're on sick leave, or maybe there's a new receptionist and you don't know in the country you live in that there's been a change. and the person who you know was there is no longer there. Now we've run into another problem. So I'm just highlighting all the areas that can create concern and difficulties for you. I want to try and eliminate those. So I'm suggesting that you prepare very, very well for your delivery to a South African address if you are across the borders of South Africa and you are making these arrangements. It's something that you're going to have to track yourself, follow up, make sure that that person who's receiving that order is aware of the fact that your order is on its way and that they're doing you the service and this, helping you in this way to receive an order on your behalf. So it is going to be up to you to keep tracking it yourself. I do hope that our tracking services are going to improve. We're going to always try and make them better. Right now, our son-in-law, Bruce, he looks after the website and he's looking at ways to improve on that. But for now, you can actually track your order by once you've placed your order, you're going to get an email that's got a link to it. And you can go and see, has your order left Oikos base yet? Whereabouts is it on its journey? And you can track it yourself. And then you can keep the person who you've asked to receive on your behalf, you can keep that person informed as to, whereabouts your order is and what to expect. I know there's a lot to consider here, and I am spending time letting you know of all the complications that can arise with international orders. And the reason why I'm talking to you is because I want to try and make it as smooth as possible. And I'm bringing all these things to awareness for you to be well prepared with your international order. Please go the extra mile. Take time. Think about it this way. Think about you're not going to jump onto the Oikos site and quickly place your online order and pay for it and it's done. If you can rather, please give it time. Give it a good couple of weeks whereby when you're ready to place your Oikos order, you're going to have to look after it right up until the moment it arrives at your door. And then we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear about you having received your order and how it went, and has everything arrived in order as you would require it to be. That's what we hope will happen, and we also hope it'll happen nice and smoothly for you and you're not going to have too many difficulties. I hope these difficulties that I've spoken of are not ones that you're even going to experience. But the reason why I'm speaking of them today is because they do seem to happen to some people. Some people have been having difficulties with placing the international orders. We've been having difficulties with the courier arriving at people's homes and they're not there, and so on, the things I've mentioned. So I hope this is just a reminder to you to please be patient and take your time and know that we are here to assist you and help you. So if you do have any confusion or queries, just email us and we will try and respond as fast as we can. So thank you for taking this time out of your day to sit and watch these few minutes of this video about international orders. I hope to see you again soon. Oh, before I go, I must just mention that there is another video about international order payments, if you'd like to go and watch that, because it's specifically talking about payment difficulties you might have. So if you want to watch that, you can as well. But thank you for watching this, and I hope we can continue to serve you there across the South African borders. It's very exciting that we can send you Oikos resources. I hope that the videos have been helpful to you. Thank you for watching. Bye.